Welcome to Ray's Recovery. Today we are talking about opiate withdrawal, what you can do to get through it, to ease the side effects of withdrawal and come out sane and with the least amount of suffering humanly possible. Welcome to Ray's Recovery. Today we are talking about opiate withdrawal, what you can do to get through it, to ease the side effects of withdrawal and come out sane and with the least amount of suffering humanly possible. So first, I would like to say if you're here, I don't want to assume everyone is here for the same reason, but it's likely that you are in a position where you are going through an opiate withdrawal or anticipate going through an opiate withdrawal and you're scared to death of the sickness. Or perhaps you are an individual who has been put on some kind of opiate painkiller and you are experiencing withdrawal symptoms. Maybe you didn't have any clue that you would, or maybe you were drastically underprepared for what would occur. Maybe your doctor downplayed it. Whatever the fact, whatever the case, I'm glad you're here and I'm going to give you some help, tips, and guidance on how to overcome opiate withdrawal. So the first thing that you need to know is it's very unlikely that you will die from heroin withdrawal. Not saying it's impossible, but it's highly unlikely. It might feel like you're going to die. You may want to die, but chances are extremely high that you will not. I've only known maybe 2 people in history that have died from heroin withdrawal. Now, there may be more, but it's usually because they're older, their bodies can't handle it, and maybe they had an underlying health issue as well, and it just took them out. But at any rate, that's number one. Very unlikely to die from it. Some may argue that you cannot die from it. I don't really agree 100%. I think there is a very small chance that some individuals may. So moving on, you're going to want to try to make yourself as comfortable as possible. There are a lot of natural things that can help, and there are some supplements that can help. So as a person who has went through cold turkey withdrawal myself countless times, I don't know, 100-200 times, and some of those were extremely excruciating. Number one, if you've put yourself in a position where you're using opiates all the time, there is value in going through the withdrawal cold turkey, believe it or not. For me, feeling that pain and experiencing that, really, there was something spiritual about getting clean and staying sober and getting through that experience. And that really made me not ever want to go back to that. So there is a lot of value in going through it. And right now you might not believe me, or you might be thinking I'm crazy. Maybe I already lost you. So that's number one. Number two, I realize most people don't ever want to go through that. And I totally understand why. It's one of the most horrible things a person can ever experience, especially if you had a extremely bad habit using a large quantity of opiates like I did. The more you use, the worse it's going to be. So just some initial facts. The longer the duration of use and the larger the amount of use is going to equate to a worse withdrawal. Okay. So just some things to prepare for. You want to have comfortable clothes on. You may not even want any clothes on. You may be so hot, you're going to have hot and cold flashes. That's part of it. Your body's going to ache extremely bad and you're going to hurt. So be very comfortable as you can. Have water around if you are capable of drinking water. This will help to speed up the process, the more water you can drink, but don't drink so much water that you're like guzzling it down, which I highly doubt you would anyway, because you'd be lucky if you can even drink any water if you're as sick as I got. The other thing, so anything that can calm your central nervous system down is going to really help the effects of withdrawal, because is what's going on. Your central nervous system is used to getting this chemical. Now it doesn't have it and it's going haywire. It's firing off like this, just all through your body. And it's telling you, hey, something is wrong here. We need this thing in us, okay? And your objective is to not listen to that and to get through the withdrawal, okay? Because we don't want to keep having to experience this in our lives. We want to go on vacations and trips and not have to have enough on us or run out and be sick and now we can't even function. And we want to get through this withdrawal. That's the plan. So hot baths are going to be very helpful. I highly suggest CBD. There are CBD bath bombs that really help with aches and pains. There is just CBD tinctures that help a lot with the pain. So they're going to ease and calm the central nervous system, okay? Now, if you have a drug problem, I'm not going to recommend you go out and do a bunch of drugs. However, some drugs are very helpful when going through heroin withdrawal. And if you've ever been into a detox or go to a detox, you will learn or have learned that they do give you certain drugs, okay, to help you come off of this. Suboxone and Subutex are a big one. I personally do not recommend them simply because it's going to prolong the withdrawal. And if you stay on Suboxone or Subutex, you're going to have to one day eventually get off of that, right? I mean, if your goal is to quit, then I suggest staying away from that. Maybe if you're in a detox treatment center and they put you on it for a week and then that's it. Okay, you can manage it that way, but it's still going to prolong it regardless, in my experience. So there are things like benzodiazepines, which if you're a drug addict, you probably don't want to take those unless it's under a controlled environment, or hypnotics like phenobarbital. Those are things that are sometimes prescribed in extreme cases. But typically in a detox environment, they are not going to want to give you those kind of drugs. Understandably so. But however, if you are just someone who is trying to get through this on your own and you think you can attempt it, and maybe you can even pull it off, benzodiazepines like Xanax, Valium, Ativan, Klonopin are going to be a very good friend of yours for the duration of it. Now, they can dramatically decrease the pain and suffering of heroin or any other opiate kind of withdrawal, fentanyl, OxyContin, etc. Having said that, you're going to have a high likelihood of diarrhea, upset stomach, bowels. One thing that I have learned that is pretty much a gem in this process is, so what do people take for diarrhea? Immodium AD comes to mind. Now, Immodium AD, it works because it is actually an opiate, believe it or not. Okay, so maybe you see where I'm going with this. Immodium AD binds your guts. It slows down the digestion, and it, just like regular opiates do, which I'm sure you have discovered by now if you're here watching this, the opiates give you constipation, right? So coming off, it's basically everything good, the perceived good feelings that the opiates gave you. The withdrawal is going to be the mirror image opposite of that. Okay, so instead of your guts being bound up, they're going to flow too free. Instead of you feeling good, you're going to feel horrible. Instead of there being no pain, you're going to have extreme pain. So it's the exact opposite of what the opiate was giving you. Imodium you can actually take and not get high, and it's because the Imodium does not pass through the blood-brain barrier. Okay, that's a barrier, a thin lining over and around the brain that certain substances can pass through, the molecules of them, into your brain, and that's what gets you high. Well, Imodium does not do that. When I was withdrawing, sometimes I would take Immodium AD. If you can find the pills, the tablets, that is best. You're going to need a lot of them though. You don't just take one or two. I mean, you figure you've been having this opiate habit for a period of time. One or two Imodiums is not going to really do much. I have read up to 80 milligrams, and I believe each tablet is 2 milligrams, but you want to assess it for yourself, but I promise you that it will actually alleviate the withdrawal symptoms because it is an opiate. It can help. I'm not saying it's a cure-all, but it can help. Also, like I said, the CBD products can really help because they will help to calm your central nervous system. If you have medical marijuana, that will help a lot as well. Again, I'm not trying to promote drug use. I'm just telling you things that will work to help the withdrawal symptoms of opiates. If you have an extreme drug addiction or drug problem, I don't recommend that you use other drugs. And again, back to my original point, there is value in going through this cold turkey, especially if you're someone like me who just couldn't seem to put the drugs down and you just have to stop. And you don't know any other way. You just know that somehow you need to put the drugs down. And replacing one addiction for another is not going to be putting the drugs down. However, for a short period of time, you can get away with using some other substances like marijuana or Klonopin, Xanax, Ativan to help you get through this. The first 4 days or so are going to be the longest, the hardest. So your withdrawal can last anywhere from 5, 6, 7 days to 3 weeks. And that would be the hardest of the withdrawal. Okay. So after 2 weeks, you should see marked improvement. And I'm not saying that you're going to suffer like maybe you're suffering now watching this for 2 weeks. That it depends on how long and how much that you've been using. Okay. So that's going to be a great determining factor in the length of the withdrawal and how extreme and painful the withdrawal will be. So having said that, you're going to want 2 or 3 hot baths a day, maybe even more. Some people will soak in the hot bath until the water is cold like I used to, and it helps a lot. Don't underestimate the power of a hot bath with some good Epsom salts in it. Also, anything that will calm your central nervous system down. I can't be any more clear than that. Anything that's going to calm it down is going to help. And now I've never drank alcohol while going through withdrawal. I can't imagine doing that. It's so disgusting when you're going through that. I couldn't even hold water down, so I can't speak on using alcohol. It does calm down the central nervous system, so I could imagine it would help take the edge off, but I don't know if that has some other adverse effect. Maybe that'll help you, but don't get blackout drunk. I can understand why you would want to, but I'm not advocating for that behavior. I'm just saying it may help as well. I personally have never used it like that, so I can't speak on it, but I can see how it would help, along with cannabis, benzos. Okay, those are going to be your biggest hard-knocking, hard-hitting things. Also, Neurontin, which I believe now is a scheduled substance. When I was in the last rehab I was in, they actually made me get on Neurontin, and I didn't want to because Neurontin is addictive, and I didn't want to take something else that was addictive. So I worked out a deal with them to take it as needed for anxiety, and I would just take it as needed. Neurontin calms the central nervous system. So if you're on that or have that, that will help a lot as well. Don't become dependent on it. It's another thing that you'll have to go through a withdrawal to get off. And again, it's like the opposite. That kind of calms you. And the opposite is you're going to be like crawling out of your skin with anxiety and not be yourself at all. So any of these things I am telling you is just supposed to be for a short period of time to help you with the excruciating pain and torment of withdrawal symptoms that you may face or are facing. If you were a heavy drug user, there is a chance that you've neglected your body in other ways, nutritionally, hydration. So one thing that I take almost every day, several times a week, is Shilajit. So there's Pure Black, and I have another one that is Himalayan Shilajit, and it just has a mountain on it. This stuff is a black tar resin. You can kind of see there. You can see where I scooped a little piece out. But this is a resin that is 100% naturally occurring, okay? It comes from old decaying foliage, trees, and matter on top of the mountains that fall down, and water comes down, and these trees decay, and the water will take that decayed matter, and you'll find it inside of caves where 2 rocks kind of come together. They scrape this tar forms, and they scrape it off, and that's what it is. Now it has over 84 vitamins and minerals. It's very good for helping to balance out your hormones. It's very good for overall body health and wellness. I will put a link below in the description to these Shilajits that I use almost daily. In men, it has been shown to boost testosterone up to 20%. It also helps women with their hormones to level out. I know when I was getting clean, my hormones were way out of whack. My whole body was way out of, very little nutrition for a long time. This stuff will make a big impact. I will put a link in the description to some more information on Shilajit for you. Another thing that has been a breakthrough has been redox signaling molecules. So what that is and how it would help and why you might be interested and should be interested in it, not just for withdrawal, but for your overall health and wellness from now till the end of your life. Everything in you requires the action of these redox signaling molecules to talk, to think, to see, to close and open your hand. Anything that you do, all the healing processes of the body, the beating of your heart, the digestion, gaining muscle, all of it has to do with these redox signaling molecules, and they are linked to addiction as well in the brain and the neurochemistry. The redox signaling molecules are basically, they taste like water almost, like a slightly salty kind of water, sort of more like almost like a burnt salt kind of taste. And it's made from two products, salt and water. And it goes through this patented process and makes these redox signaling molecules. There's the reductant and the oxidant, redox signaling. This is what controls every function in your body. And as we age, we lose more and more of these. So it's a naturally occurring thing in us. And as far as I'm aware, there's only one company in the world that can make this stuff right now, that knows how to. There's over 10,000 patents on the process. I have personally taken the redox signaling molecules for about 6 months now. And I mean, within the first 48 hours, I noticed a huge difference. I mean, I was waking up earlier. I felt better. I wasn't moody. My eyesight got a little crisper. My hair's grown in thicker, believe it or not. In the gym, I have more stamina. I just feel better. There's no more mental fog days. I just don't have those anymore. I'm always sharp. Everything's always clear, and I understand things. I understand people better as they're speaking to me, just in normal conversation. And I feel better. I heal quicker from my workouts. I don't really get that sore. Even if I hit it hard, I'll get a little sore, of course, but there is a major difference with and without the redox signaling molecules. And so this is the one I take, and it's the only one I know of. And it's called ASEA Redox Cell Signaling Supplement. Okay. And this is certified redox molecules by one of the biggest testing facilities in the world to say that this is actually redox signaling molecules, because it was said to be impossible to make this stuff. And then it would be like the equivalent of hot and cold water in a bottle, but keeping it separate. And they managed how to do it actually on a fluke. It was an accident that they ran some tests overnight, came back, saw that they had the wrong function or number in there, and it actually turned out to create the redox signaling molecule and make it stable, because that was a big problem. They could create them, but they couldn't stabilize them. And now they can stabilize them. It's an absolutely phenomenal product that I will link down the description below for you. I highly, highly, highly recommend this product. I can't say that enough. This product is a revolutionary breakthrough. It truly is. It's changed my life. Since the age of maybe 7, I wake up in the morning grumpy, cranky, don't want to get out of bed. It takes me 3 hours before I'm moving, and with it, my whole life has been like that. Within 2 days of taking this, that was completely gone. I no longer wake up grumpy. I feel great when I wake up. I feel rested. I feel healed. I'm not groggy. I don't have the foggy days. I don't have like the feeling like I'm dragging myself anymore. Everybody should be on a redox signaling supplement. So again, back to your hormones. That is going to help to balance out your hormones as well. It's going to help to balance out the neurochemistry. Everything that your body is doing inside of you requires cell signaling. If the cells cannot talk to each other, you're going to have a rough time. Things aren't going to work and process as well in your body. When the cells can all communicate better, like with this, when you take this, you're going to be rocking. It's a little 2-ounce cup in the morning and a little 2-ounce cup before bed. And this stuff, I just swear by it. I highly recommend it. It's worth getting. It will help, I promise. And there is science to back that up. It's not just some guy on a YouTube saying this stuff works, get it. There is a ton of science, which I will link some videos and doctors below. There's a doctor who wrote a book on it. You can look it up yourself. So the Shilajit, the ASEA redox signaling molecules, another product that has really been beneficial for me and will help you is ORMUS. Now, ORMUS, maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. It's not a super popular thing people talk about. Enter Gold is one of them, okay? And this is an empty one because I took it all. But it's like a light purplish, pinkish powder, this specific one. ORMUS stands for Orbitally Rearranged Monatomic Element. So this one is actually a monatomic gold, and that's what a lot of the ORMUSs are. Basically, it is gold in its smallest possible form, which is the single atom, sometimes dual or tri-atom bonds. So when we get it to this small of a level, it changes the chemical properties of it and the components and how they act on your body. Now, this stuff will help you with more enlightened thoughts, intuition, It'll help your body communicate better. It'll help the cells hold a greater charge of energy for a longer period of time, so you're not burning out as quick. It helps with your blood oxygen levels. It helps with overall health and wellness. There's been a lot of stories from people who have taken ORMUS that have had miraculous healings, less pain. So I highly recommend it. I've been taking ORMUS for at least a year now, maybe a little longer. And it has just made profound changes in my life, in intuition, in automatic knowing, in the way I think, my energy levels, the things I attract into my life. I'm telling you, this stuff is magical in a sense. So when you combine all these things together, you get a really great effect. And that is what I do. I take the Shilajit about 3 times a week. I take the ORMUS almost every single day. Sometimes I'll take a day or 2 off. I take the ASEA Redox stimulating molecules every single day as well, and the CBD oils. So there are so many different CBD oils. Get yourself a good one. Get yourself something a little stronger for the withdrawal, because you're going to need it. It will dramatically help too. If it's a good CBD, like I said, you can even get like a Delta 8 gummy or a Delta 9 gummy. I'm not recommending that you do drugs. I'm just saying these things do help with withdrawal symptoms. If you have an extreme drug addiction or a drug problem, you've got to do this at your own discretion. I'm not saying to go out and do this. I'm just telling you what will help. The other things that will help are exercise, staying hydrated, eating healthy, and getting your vitamins. Again, the Shilajit will provide you with a lot of vitamins and minerals, over 84. Also, believe it or not, if you can, some form of entertainment. If you can distract your mind and get it off of the pain of withdrawal and focus on something else, you would be shocked how well that helps. The more you're going to focus on the withdrawal, the worse it's going to be, I promise. Even if it's a very bad withdrawal, the more you focus on it and you're just inside yourself suffering, the worse it's going to be. Try to distract yourself. Put a movie on. Even if you're not watching it, just the sound of it will help. And let it be something good. If you're going to bother putting something on, or some good music that is calming, relaxing, keeping hydrated is going to be super huge. That's really it. I mean, there's a slew of other things, I'm sure other drugs and things, but if you really want to sum it up, anything that will calm the central nervous system and give something that will give you good nutrition, nutrients. That's why I highly suggest the ORMUS, because that basically is a nutrient. Okay, it's made out of naturally occurring elements like gold, platinum, rhodium. There's so many different metals that you can make ORMUS out of. And when we have it in a single atom form, it acts very different on the body, and now you can actually get benefits from that. There are a couple different ones. There's many different ones. Not very into precipitates. You will see like the milky, thick white ORMUS. Some of that is okay, but most of it's really not. Some of it's all right though, and does help. I think Energold is one of the best I've ever used, and I've used several different kinds of many different kinds of ORMUS. Energold works. You need about 0.2 of a gram of it. 0.2, 200 milligrams about. Maybe not even that much, honestly, maybe 100 milligrams, just a tiny little bit. This stuff is very interesting, peculiar matter. And then again, for all your cells to communicate, the ASEA Redox. That's going to help everything to communicate. It's going to help expedite the process. And we want to expedite the process, don't we? So I hope this video helped you. I hope it gave you some insight. Don't be afraid to use a heat pad. Don't be afraid to put some ice on your neck, on your forehead, and just try to be comfortable and relax. Try to distract yourself with something like a movie or music, some form of entertainment like that. You probably won't be up for much of anything. Maybe you're hypersensitive. Your senses might be extremely going haywire and sensitive as well. So you might just want to put something on low in the background. Get a nice atmosphere, some candles, something that helps calm you down. Dim the lights, because chances are you're going to be hypersensitive and hyper irritable and won't be able to tolerate too much. I'd be surprised if you were going through it. You made it this far through the video, but if you did, thank you for watching. I hope this has added some value to you, and I hope that it can help you through your withdrawal symptoms. If you need any other help, information, or support, We have a global community called Raise Recovery that we are launching. You may send me an email, which will be in the link below where you can contact me at. We also do take donations for the recovery group. That's how we run it, and that's how we are going to support it moving forward. So if you'd like to donate to the cause, you will find the link below where you can find the donation information, and also in the donation form will be my contact info at the bottom. So thank you. Hope this helped you, and take care.